The University of Florida is one of the few major universities now that does not have a Latino Studies program or department or degree or certificate even. And so when I arrived here as a faculty member, almost the very first meeting I had with with actually an administrator, she asked me this question. She said, "Why don't we have a Latino Studies program at the University of Florida?" And I said, "That's a great question. I've been here a total of 1 week." And so I don't know what to say.
Saludos, mi nombre es Genesis Lara y yo coordino el proyecto de la Diaspora Latina en las Américas, localizada en el Proctor programa de historia oral. El propósito de este proyecto es darle luz a las historias de inmigrantes que vienen de Latinoamérica hacia los Estados Unidos. Queremos saber por qué personas llegan a este país y cómo es sus vidas cuando están aquí. Queremos saber cómo es que sus hijos navegan ser de allá y ser de aquí a la misma vez.
The name of my project is a Latina Diaspora in the Americas project. Oh yes, it's LDAP for short. And you don't have to say both Latino and Latina, you can just say Latina or Latina, but yeah. Latino history is the story of people that come from Latin America to the United States and their histories here in the US. So we wanted it, because it's often taught as separate things, we wanted it to include what was people's life back then, back there in those countries, why did they choose to come here, and what has been their lives like here. So it's covering everything and kind of showing how, we're in the U.S., the rest of the Americas, we're not mutually exclusive. We've had this shared history for such a long time, and we kind of want to show how we have impacted and been in relation with each other for quite a bit amount of time now.
Nosotros creemos que estas historias son una forma de demostrar el valor de nuestra gente. Queremos que nuestras historias de sacrificio, de dolor y sobre todo de amor sean las historias que identifiquen a nuestra gente.
But Genesis was a student who arrived in our program and was part of this great cohort that did this project with the Student Action with Farm Workers organization at Duke University. And it was that Student Action with Farm Workers program, I think, that gave us the idea, why don't we do something like that here? We're not Duke University, but we're the University of Florida, which is good.
Yeah, it was my last year here in college, and I wanted to stay volunteering with the project. And I had, at that point, I had done some interviews with immigrants, almost like my family and their immigration stories here from the Dominican Republic. And I wanted to do something a bit more focused on Latino art history because we didn't have anything about that.
What's unique about our program, I think, is the integral part of undergraduate students. This was a completely unfunded program.
Originally, it was just, how we got the class started, it was just 3 students. It was Brittany Mejia, Yareris Zamora, and Hani Mendez. So we were sitting there and I had told them, well, I really wanted to do, what I wanted to do was a book club for the fall 2014. I wanted to get books and just have us read Latino books, the books that aren't really covered in class. And they're like, well, we kind of want a class, so it's not fair that we don't get this. And I'm like, okay. Dr. Ortiz was in Europe at the time, so I rushed to do a sample syllabus while he was out, and when he came back, I'm like, okay, students have talked to me, they really want to do this. Here's a sample syllabus, can they sign up with you? And I'll help and do as much as I can. And he's like, okay. And we had 3 students, and then between me and them, we hustled, and we got people to sign up.
It used to be, if you wanted to study a topic like, say, indigenous cultures in Latin America, you go to Mexico, you go to Guatemala. You can still do that, but you can do that just as easily in Miami or the Central Coast of California, because many of those communities have moved into the United States in large numbers. So there's a research need.
But our first project was the Nuestras Historias project, which is a documentary on the history of the Institute of Hispanic Latino Cultures, known as La Casita. So that was our first project, I think.
So I've identified a teaching need, a research need. The service need is just as integral because we have a growing Latino community in this region. They are dramatically underserved by the University of Florida. And we have students who are looking for service learning activities. And so LDAP, I think, comes out of all 3 of those areas.
So my I guess, ideology behind the project has always been, am I going to write something, or are we going to do an interview, and then the people, is my family going to want to sit through this? are they going to want to read it? Because if they're going to be bored with it, no, you know, it's always been about them. It's not about us. We're just a vehicle. So that's why every single thing that we've done, you know, it hasn't been perfect, but I've honestly tried to make it that we're constantly giving back. We're constantly in relationship with the community, talking with them.
No queremos que el mundo lo diga quiénes somos, nosotros mismos queremos decir quién somos. Y este proyecto, nuestras historias, son la forma más poderosa de lograr esa meta.
Originally it was going to be called, I believe, just Latino or History Project. But as when Dr. Ortiz and I were going back and forth on, like, I was writing out what would be the mission, the purpose, all the things that we needed to define the project. He's like, well, it looks like it's the Diaspora.
We decided to say Diaspora because our students also have that experience of being in motion constantly. So their parents may have grown up in the Dominican Republic. They bring their family here. They might move back. They keep in contact with people from their sending country, if you will.
Because the point of this is to, especially during that time when we started, that's when one of the congressmen has said, oh, you know, you can, for every one Latino that's a valedictorian in high school, you have 60 more that are crossing the desert with like 60 pounds that they're like pack mules. All these negative things that are being said, and then also the issues within our community, racism, colorism, all those things. So we wanted it to be that it was directly changing our community and having us be the people that speak for ourselves. So it's always, the goal behind is always to put the stories back in their hands. You know, always, you know, not just as interviews, because not everybody's going to sit and read a transcript, but video projects, education projects for students. That's why, you know, we did that family development plan, why we did that ethnic studies documentary, because it's a way to consistently be giving back and be in relationship with people. I think what really took off the project was when we had all these students coming in. I think that I had things that I wanted to do, but then they had things that they believed in, and I think the merging of those two things was really powerful. Obviously it's gonna grow here, it's gonna grow in our archives, whatever, but it's gonna grow in them in a way that you can't record it, you can't mark it, you can't measure it, you can't write about it, you just feel it. And sometimes that's honestly the best thing. I think it really goes to show that if you have powerful stories and you give people the space to learn about themselves and do this type of work, it changes lives. Our goal is that within, you know, 5-10 years, it becomes like a regional center for Latino advocacy, you know, and that we can have starting relationships with the community and with centers across the United States. Like, I think it has the potential to be that big if we just work really hard with it. So, but it's always been that we give everything back. That we're not keeping anything, it's not for us. I told my classmate a lot, it's like, you don't change the community changes you.
And today, we just discovered we received our first, this could be the first NEH grant received in the history of this program, I'm not sure. I think it is. And it's very illuminating that it's for specifically the study of Latinos. It shows you that we're in an era where this kind of research is seen as very important.
Hi. Say, my name is Olivia Pugh.
I get things done.